episode 153 of We the GamerCast comes to you all every Monday on iTunes, Google Play, and mother-loving YouTube. I'm home alone. It's E3 day. Xbox is about to do their whole thing today. By the time you're hearing this on Monday, it would have been yesterday. Today is just as exciting. Tons of stuff going on. Square Enix and Sony and everybody's doing their E3 stuff, so I'm a little jazzed. Chelsea took the baby to my parents' house. I am here with the dogs and you, and I'm so pumped. I got a lot of that nervous energy kind of going on, like that good nervous, like holy crap, this is such a great opportunity for the channel, and I'm going to be streaming with Mr. Badbit himself and Mr. Luke Lohr and Mr. Dave Moore. I don't know why, Joseph Moran, I don't know why I didn't just say your name. Guys, that's how nervous I am. That's how excited. And all my good friends from around the world on the internet are all hanging out at E3. The Megadads are there, Brock McLaughlin's there, Dapper Tux is there, Bobby Paul's is there. Everybody's there. I'm sorry if I didn't write this down. I'm just kind of just spitballing here, guys. If you're there, congratulations. I'm so stoked that you guys are hope you're having a good time at E3, living the dream. The rest of us back home watching on the internet, and nervous energy watched EA yesterday. But guys, I'm getting way ahead of myself, because if you're new, here's the deal. Every week I have sweet hangs with a stranger from the internet, and if you want to be on the show, it's easy. Just tweet at me at Sean Capri. Of course, it's Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants, and this is all possible thanks to everybody who helps us out at patreon.com/makeusbetter. Everybody who helps out. If you listen, retweet, share, leave a comment, subscribe on YouTube, but especially at Make Us Better, you truly do make all of these shows better. This one, If We Ran Nintendo, goodness gracious, the Trophy Room, Bad Bits channel, Warp Whistle podcast, Nintendo Nostalgia, and we haven't finalized everything, but there may be a new challenger coming. Maybe. I just want to I wasn't even planning on saying it, but now it's out. Now it's out. I could edit this, but it's out there. Guys, get excited. Please get hyped. So thank you guys so much for your support. Helps make these shows better, and it helps us grow this giant community of people who are making content, and it allows them to get better as well. I feel like this is pretty special. This is a cool thing that we've got going on. It was a crazy idea, but I just know in my heart collaboration is key, and we're doing that. And so thank you guys. Your support at Patreon goes further than you even think. So thank you so much. This is something totally new, and it's all thanks to everybody who supports us there, especially our platinum executive producer, Corey Hicks, wife of Amanda Hicks, who will be on next week. You can find him at twitch.tv/chicks_18. I don't know, Twitch and chicks, it messes with my brain. So Corey, love you, man. Gold executive producers, Sheldon, Benedict, Tony Baker, and Mr. Mark Moody, and our gentleman executive producers, I gotta get rid of that in my notes, man. It's just executive producers. Dude427, Martini Jean, Aaron Doherty, David Ray, Jesse Armstrong, Joel Brooks, James Johnson, Tim Aulph, and Bobby Miller. And a special thank you to our brand new patrons. Joe After Work, thank you, Joe. Love you, man. That means so much that you even just took the time to head over to patreon.com/makeusbetter. And our brand new executive producer, Bobby Miller, sent one of the nicest tweets I've ever. I swear to God, Bobby, I'm going to get to a couple other nice tweets that people have said. So, but Bobby said that he discovered my shows through when I was on the Trophy Room. Shout out to the Trophy Room. Thank you for having me on. We did an amazing E3 spectacular episode. I love changing the format. I feel like we're all kind of doing pretty similar stuff. I think we did great stuff here on our E3 predictions with the scoring, and Dave just killed it. On the Trophy Room, if you guys didn't check that out, go to youtube.com. Wait, you don't have that URL. Go to Bad Bit Games on YouTube. And we did a great episode where we talked about what third-party games we're going to show on each stage. So Joe and I, we fought for our cases, and sometimes we actually fought for the other, like Xbox versus PlayStation, and then Kyle was the judge. It was absolutely amazing. You guys definitely need to go check that out if you haven't already. And Bobby Miller, he had mentioned that he discovered me and my shows through that show, and that's what it's all about, guys. We're all in this together, and we're collaborating, and I love that. So thank you. That tweet honestly means the world to me. I'm seriously considering like getting a couple of those framed, just kind of having them around here. I think that would be so nice, man. Thank you so much. So many thank yous. A couple more shout outs, guys, before we get into it. My mom is calling me. I don't think she, you know what? I was going to put her name on the stream, but I'm not going to do it. Mom, I'll call you back in just a second. Couple quick shout outs. Andrew Newell, I said this on the Xbox Drive and also said it on If You're at Nintendo, but I want to make sure I get it out, because these tweets, they mean more than anybody can ever describe. Andrew Newell said, "Hey, Sean Capri, after getting hooked on the Xbox Drive, I listened to your We the GamerCast E3 predictions. Just want to say your shows are awesome, and your E3 prediction scoring system should be the international standard. Keep up the great work." That's amazing. Thank you, Andrew. If you're still listening, thank you for sticking with us. This is I feel like this is a very special type of show. I'm rejuvenated all of a sudden. Just like things have been going so well, and I'm back in it. My creativity is flowing. I've had enough coffee this morning to be talking to you guys at lightning speed. And I also want to thank Mr. Precision, Kyle Chenard. He said, first-time listener, congrats on 150 episodes. I'm excited to check out some of your previous episodes and look forward to future ones. So I hope you're looking forward to this one. I first became aware of Kyle when he would always get the question of the day on EP Daily and reviews on the run and everything. So I've known of Mr. Precision for a very, very long time. I imagine that he jumped on when Mersa and Steve were on. So thank you so much for checking that out so much. And guys, if it seems like I'm going back a little bit, it's because I was on vacation. So I had pre-recorded a couple of these intros. So it's been a while since I really got to talk to you with like anything new that's happened. So I'm going to try and keep this I'm going quickly because I want to get to my chat with Eric Green, The Art of Bacon. Best Twitter handle ever. But let's get serious for a second. I was on vacation. I was on Vancouver Island, which is just this little like, it's kind of like Canada's Madagascar. Like it's that like little like tip off the side, and it's beautiful. So for me, I spent most of my time there, like seriously trying to figure out how I could not come back. Like it was absolutely tremendous, and it wasn't even like we were staying in this like gorgeous house. It wasn't like the weather was like tropical or anything like that. It was just this, I don't know, man. It was this escape that I didn't want to leave. And so like I mean now things are feeling a little bit better, but I was really kind of down for a little bit because I'm like, I really like, what does that mean? What does that say about like what I'm going back to that I didn't want to? Like I've been on many vacations before. I've been to many different places, and usually I kind of get my fill, like New York, San Francisco, like San Diego. I've been to all these different places, and I get my fill, and I'm like, I like where I live. This is the one time where I'm like, we need to figure this out. I was thinking about like, how do we sell our house? Can we live with one car? Like, how do we actually make all this stuff work? And ultimately that's like, I guess, too much. So here I am. I'm back home. Things are feeling better, but I just wanted to kind of get that off my chest. And if you guys ever have that sort of experience, like let me know. Tweet at me at Sean Capri. I'm very curious to know if I'm the only one who gets that serious when I'm on vacation. Just like this is, because I know that's the thing you say. You come back to work, you're like, well, I'd rather still be on vacation, but that is what it is. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I don't think that I'm missing anything else. Please, if you guys haven't already, my goodness gracious, my screen just like popped up with all these notifications. But Skinny Matt, you didn't hear a single noise because I got all that taken care of, I believe. Let's get right into the show. My guest this week from the Married to the Games community. This is very timely because MTTG is celebrating 300. Very jealous of everybody out there who's able to go meet up. I'm pretty sure Josh Stapleton, Spencer Stapleton, Brian Scott. There's so many people. Brian Scott, are you? I feel like I already said that I was jealous that you're going. I'm fairly sure you're going. If not, I hope you're doing well either way. Congratulations to 300 episodes to those guys. Let's get into it. Eric Green. It's E3 weekend. Guys, follow him at The Art of Bacon. Let's go. Eric Green!
Well, like, you know, my wife doesn't really game or anything, so.
Oh, really? How does that go for you?
It sucks.
It really?
Yeah, because she thinks it's just nonsense, really, and a waste of money.
How long? So, but she must have known that you were into games when you guys met. So how did that work out?
I really wasn't when we met. I kind of, like, it's always been a thing of mine, but I finally decided to get back into it, and it really wasn't like, you know, like I completely stopped or anything, but
what time period was that where you kind of like maybe take a bit? Actually, you know what, Eric, let's go back to the beginning. We'll work our way up. We're going to do like the Pulp Fiction version of this, where we just kind of like tease the front, and then let's go all the way to the beginning. Like where, like I actually don't even know. Like, are you Xbox only? Like, what's your console preference? What's your journey into console and gaming in general, man?
Well, I started way back in like the super late '80s, probably when I was about 3 or 4. And I started
about
with
the same age, I think.
Yeah, I'm 31, or yeah.
You have a baby face, man. I would have guessed much younger. You're forever young.
I think I get that. I'm definitely like I'll look younger, but I still don't get carded when I go buy beer.
There you go. Yeah, it's sort of in, like people know, but like maybe not quite 20, but certainly younger than you are, man. Certainly look younger than you are. But yeah, man. So you and I grew up in a similar era of games. So like, do you remember when you first started like maybe get a little obsessed with it?
I can. It's probably, well before it's probably during, the Super Nintendo portion of the generations. Because I remember like the first thing that I ever remember playing was the Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt cartridge.
Oh yeah, man. That's like magic though, right? You put it in, there's actually like 2 games on there. Like, it seems like that shouldn't have come until much later. But you can actually like select the game at the start, and I mean you got the gun. And did you ever know that you can control the ducks in Duck Hunt with the second controller? Like you put in like the light gun in the first controller port, but somebody playing with a regular NES pad and the second controller can go up, down, left, or right with the ducks, and they can like change the direction on you. They can make your game go real bad.
Completely new to me.
Yeah, man, you should check that out.
I think I'm gonna have to go like freaking track down a NES console with that freaking cartridge.
Yeah, man. So did you? Sorry, who had that cart in that the NES back in the day? Was that you guys or was it friends?
It was ours, as far as I remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember who bought it or anything, but I remember it just being on that little CRT, and this is even before like we had the RF screw-ons. It was where you actually had to screw off the two wires and then screw it onto the TV.
Man, you needed like a grown-up's help for that, because you look at that and it's like, this doesn't make any sense at all. I don't understand how this works. I remember thinking that, because I didn't have an NES, but every other kid did, and I remember looking at how it was all plugged in and stuff. I'm just like, I don't get it. It kind of completely breaks my brain. So did you have like people around you to like share gaming with, or was it kind of like you and your family? Like who are you playing with?
Well, no one was really like, I have my older brother, and we pretty much played up until he was probably around getting in, probably sophomore high school age.
How much older is he than you?
He's like 2 years older.
Okay, so you guys are close then.
Yeah,
close in age. So it's not like that. I mean, my it's similar with my older brother too. Like he will always be 2 years older than me. But like back then, like when you're a kid, 2 years is like a lot. I feel like, because it's like he experienced things first, and then he would kind of like introduce me to like music and all these other different things. So I imagine it was probably similar for you. Was it him kind of getting into games first and introduced like, here, play this, or is it more your thing?
Well, up until probably the 64 is when he kind of started going and about doing his own thing. And then I just continued on, and I just kept it on. Like, when GameCube came out, I remember getting a PlayStation for the first time.
Yeah, man.
And then basically after the GameCube, I really fell in love with it, probably during the N64. Like, Zelda Ocarina of Time is my one and true, it's my number one game that I remember, as far as nostalgia goes. And, I even popped that in like the other day on my GameCube, and that is still like a masterclass, gameplay.
You play Ocarina of Time on your GameCube?
Yeah. Well, it's back in right before Wind Waker came out. They had a little promotion going on where you could buy, if you pre-ordered Wind Waker and you got a subscription to Nintendo Power Magazine,
Mm-hmm.
they would send you a copy for your GameCube of Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and the Master Quest. And that's how I first ended up getting that one. I did play it on the 64 first.
I am completely blown away, man. I didn't know that this was a thing on the GameCube. Like I almost want, I don't want to do the Flexipose thing and have the mechanical keyboards going on throughout this podcast. I want to fact check you on this a little bit. It totally breaks my brain. I didn't even know that was a thing.
I can even go get it for you.
Let's just share secrets that we know about Nintendo. Like I knew about this Duck Hunt thing. You knew about this whole Ocarina on GameCube. I'm completely so like was that sort of like it seems like GameCube for a lot of people, especially like our age, was like either. For me, I completely avoided it, but for a lot of people, like in our age, it was totally seminal. Where like Smash was coming out, and like there was a lot of games that people were like, yes, this is for a lot of people, it's their favorite console. Like, does it represent that amount of significance for you as well, or is there another console that sort of holds your heart forever?
Well, I have to say the GameCube is probably. My favorite as far as everything goes, because that's when I really, really got hardcore into it, and I started having my own money to go buy the games that I wanted.
What were you doing to make your money?
Well, I worked at a local grocery store.
Yeah, man, me too.
We have Ingles down here in Western North Carolina, and I worked at all different kinds. I remember I tried McDonald's for 3 hours.
3 hours?
3 hours.
Oh, that's awesome. What happened?
Well, pretty much the gist of it is I got the job. I went, for my first day, and they's like, we don't really need you today for the rest of this. Like, you want to go home? I was like, sure, why not? So I went home.
As any kid would. Like, what do you mean? You're giving me the option to go? Like, you don't question that. You peace out. Because it's like, let's just, yeah, man. I'd rather not be here. Do you remember, like, because, man, working, like, at your first full, like, 8-hour shift, you're like, what is this? I don't want to be doing this at all. When's my break? When can I just, like, not be like, I was a cashier, and I remember, like, it was so regimented, like, every 2 hours, like, your first 2 hours, and you get a 15-minute break, and then 2 hours later, you get your half an hour, then another 2 hours, and you get your 15, and another 2 hours, then you're done. And I just remember just not wanting that forever and ever. And I would work with people who were lifetime people at the Safeway, the local Safeway. And that was like my like eye opener. I'm like, maybe I should like take school a little more seriously than I do, because I think that I want to not do this for the rest of my life. Like, look forward to the next 2 hours, man. Holy crap. So McDonald's, then you just like you had a 3-hour shift, then you leave, and like, what was it that you didn't want to go back to? Is it just like
it was just the grease and stuff, and just
that's the best answer.
I felt like I was with just people just so below my intelligence level. It just
okay. Like, were you a smart kid in school?
Yeah, like I honestly didn't really start getting like my first semester in college was the first time I ever got A honor roll. Like, I got college. All A. So I mean, I passed everything in high school with flying colors and everything, but it was like A's and B's and everything. But it's like, I just didn't really care too much. But
did you always hear that you had to apply yourself? Like teachers and parents were sick and tired of you not applying yourself? Because I got that all the time.
No, honestly, I would read up on whatever test we had that week, and I'd just ace it and pretty much go home. And
what did you end up taking in college? Like, what'd you go to school for?
I went to school for business administrations.
Yeah,
and I graduated with associates in applied sciences. And
really, those are like totally opposite, man. You're not supposed to be able to do both. Business
So,
admin and bachelor of science. Holy crap, dude! How many years of school is that?
oh, it was just two.
Oh,
I
okay.
probably
Oh, it's
should
part of
go
the
and get
same
my
thing. I see.
bachelor's, but yeah, it's a 2-year degree.
Mm-hmm.
Probably should go back, but it's difficult now.
Why
Got
do you say
2
that?
kids and everything. I got twin girls.
Why do you say you should go back though? Do you think?
Just to get that extra level of education?
Yeah.
Because I think if I did and finally graduated with a bachelor's, it would open up more doors for me.
Yeah.
But other than that,
where did you did you go to school like close to home, or did you like move away? I feel like anytime I watch any movie about a kid in the United States going to school, he's got to travel like halfway across the country. Like there's no going to school close to home.
no, I went to school close to home.
Yeah.
Like there's a university like 20 minutes from where we lived, so I went there.
And which of the Carolinas are you in?
Western North Carolina.
Okay, so what's that like, man? Like, what's growing up like out there?
Well, it's very mountainy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're in the mountains.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know
I'm sure.
that.
Have you ever heard of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park?
No, I have never heard of that. That's awesome. It sounds congesting.
Well, it's
That's a
definitely
really dumb joke.
really green.
Mm-hmm.
Like we literally. Have you ever heard of Dollywood?
No, man, I'm an awful person. I don't know any of this stuff.
What about Dolly Parton?
No, yes, of course.
All right, that is Dolly Parton's theme park.
Oh my
in
gosh.
Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, which is literally like it's in Tennessee, but it's literally like 40 minutes from where we live.
Yeah.
But we have to go across a mountain to do it.
Mm-hmm. So what's like the pace of life like where you live? Like I think like I don't live in a big city, but it's still city life. Like it's pretty quick. Is it the same where you are? Is it a little like more relaxed? I would love to live in a place. This is why I wish we had multiple lives. Wait a minute, you can't even see me. I'm gonna fix my camera at some point here. But recording is working. I don't know why. My this thing is I need a new webcam. I think at some point here, Eric. So I apologize that you can't see all my animation and everything. Happened to Joel Brooks last week too.
The C920, like the one that I just got.
I've got two. I've got the 920 is recording, so it's in full HD, and then the 270 is supposed to run alongside it for Discord. So every now and then it just decides to crap out, and I don't know if it's gonna come back. I don't know, man. So yeah, like what's the pace of life like for you where you're at?
It's pretty slow, actually. I mean, we live in a super small town, Bryson City, North Carolina. I've heard of that. It's like an ant on the map.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, we get a lot of tourists. There's a creek down here and a train, and that's about it.
So what are the tourists coming to see?
The train and the creek. So nice. I'm like, why are you here? Go back to wherever you came from.
No doubt, right? So you're going to school close to home, like it's a 2-year program. Are you playing games around then as well? Like I know for me, like college was mostly like a little Call of Duty, a little NHL, like really like maybe some Gears of War. Like I was starting to come back into like hardcore games. I would say like for me returning to like really getting into and like memorizing like studios and like heads of studio, like nerdy details was really like the tail end of the 360 PS3 era. Like the 360 mostly just was like if I had time I would play some games, but really like this generation is like probably the most hardcore into games that I've been probably since like when I was PC gaming back in like the late 90s kind of thing. So like how is it for you? Because you kind of mentioned before there was a bit of a break in gaming for you. So like what era was the break for, and then what brought you back?
See, well, initially I'd stopped probably around 2008.
Yeah.
2007, 2008, and I still always had a game system, but I pretty much had stopped. I started working out a lot and trying to lose some weight and everything, and I ended up getting kind of more back into gaming when the well, I guess technically that would have been a little bit more before that, because like I specifically remember the 360 launch.
Yeah, man.
And really counting those days down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I guess where I got into the 360 was when Walmart got a 360 demo station.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I was going to class, and then every now and then I'd have a break in between classes.
Yeah.
So I'd go to Walmart and play the Call of Duty 2.
Yeah, man.
And the King Kong's Peter Jackson.
Oh,
on that.
snap, dude. I almost forgot about that game. Easiest or maybe best 1,000 points that you could get, achievement points.
I don't, yeah. Like,
I
remember when
the awful game, really. Let's be honest.
I remember just being floored by the graphics.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember, counting that down and waiting for my 360 at midnight. And
were you on the Xbox before that? Like, what kind of brought you on board? Was it just the demo, just seeing these graphics that were unbelievable? For me, it was like turning that system on with a wireless controller blew my mind. I'm like, I need to have one of these things. Like, that was me being in, like, realizing we were in the future.
Well, I always had as many systems as I could possibly have.
Oh, nice.
So I started out with the NES, and we had Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers. There's and Contra and stuff like that, and then finally got a Super Nintendo, and then so we had a lot of games for that. And at one point, we had our house broken into.
Oh man!
And we had everything stolen that we had, as pretty much as far as video games were.
Yeah.
So like the Super Nintendo and everything was gone. I think that we still had one and a few games left that they didn't end up taking. But due to that, we ended up getting a Nintendo 64.
What do you mean due to that? Like to replace everything? Your parents kind of just went out and got that to make up for
correct.
Like, was it an insurance thing at all? Like, was any of that kind of covered? Do you remember?
As far as I remember, there was no insurance claim or anything.
Oh my god, man, that's awful. That's devastating.
You might be surprised about this, but I'm an Indian, and we get this thing called per capita.
Okay.
So there's a casino here in Cherokee, North Carolina, which is about 10 minutes from Bryson.
Yeah.
And I'm an enrolled member of the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians. And my dad is as well, so that's where I get mine from. And we get a check every 6 months.
Are you sure?
Yes. Believe it or not. I have identification to prove it.
No way.
So, back then we were getting so up until I turned 18, every 6 months I was getting a check stub that was going into a trust account.
Yeah.
And
wait a minute. We need to pause on this for a second, Eric. So what are your parents? Where's the breakdown here? Break it down for what's the lineage here? Because I don't see it.
I take more after my mom.
Oh, okay.
So,
but where does the heritage go back? On which side? Is it both of your parents' side, or is it your dad?
It's just my dad.
It's just your dad,
much. Yeah. His a lot of his family members have the last name Husky.
Yeah.
And that's a big, Indian last name around here.
It's a great last name. So why don't you have that last name?
I'm not really sure. But that's where most of my Indian comes from, is the Husky name.
Yeah.
So
dude, that's fascinating. And just somewhere along the line it turned green.
So when I was born and I was put on this enrollment, due to the casino, they would share those profits with the with the people enrolled in the tribe.
Mm-hmm.
So every 6 months, I would get a check stub saying this much amount went into this trust account that I could dip into after I graduated high school or turned 21, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something. There's something similar here as well, but for when you turn 18, at least in our province. And I know a lot of guys went to university with a lot of them. They're just like, there's a couple things you can do with that giant check or that giant trust account of cash, and one of those things is education. So yeah, like, is this where we get into you just buying every single video game?
Yeah, well, so
awesome.
I went into that trust account. So here we had to graduate high school or turn 21.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I graduated high school. I went to college right after high school.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? My dad had got his check, so we had used, or he had used his to go buy us a N64 with GoldenEye and Super Mario 64.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, it was on like Donkey Kong after that.
Yeah, right.
So as you know, we would more or less go rent games because we didn't get games that often, other than Christmas.
God, how does that change, man? Because that's like, I feel like that's everybody growing up, was you don't get more than Christmas and birthdays, and like if you're lucky you got a sibling who's also into gaming and they'll get a game on their birthday, something like, and that's kind of it. But now, like, I don't know if it's just that there's too many games. Maybe that's just it. Too many games come out, which doesn't make any sense. Like, it's way more expensive to game now than it was back then. But I don't know, man. Maybe if you adjust for inflation, maybe not. I don't know, man.
Well, as far as I remember, it's actually a lot cheaper to game now.
Yeah, like I guess so. Then. I guess that might be
because you know back in the day, Super Nintendo cartridges could go upwards of $90 or more. Because you remember, Earthbound, when it came out, it came with a instruction or player's guide and the big old box and everything. And I think that one retailed for $90.
Dude, I remember going, because again, like, we didn't have a console until the Dreamcast, which my brother and I bought with our own money, like once we started like working and stuff. But I remember going to the store with neighbor Matt, and I remember him picking out a game. Oh man, it was on a PlayStation, I think. No, it definitely was on a PlayStation. It was Vigilante 8. It was like this Twisted Metal kind of rip-off thing. It was like vehicle combat stuff. That sucker was like $100, and I remember his mom just like paying for it, and I'm going like, is that how much? Like, I remember for some reason that's my first memory of acknowledging like how much money these things were, and just realizing like this dude had like everything. He had every game. He had boxes and boxes of cartridges, and just going like, oh my god, like that, like what was stolen from you was probably worth like so much money.
Yeah, because we had Earthbound. Before that happened.
Snap. Really?
And you know, to think if we had the fortitude to keep the box and everything for that game, I mean, like that could literally pay for like a semester of college.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's like a renovation on the house. You know what I mean? So did they ever like catch anybody? Like, was anybody ever charged for that break-in or anything? Like, it just,
not that I can remember.
Yeah,
you know, I remember. My brother's room was so messy, they didn't touch his room, but my room was clean. Wow. So they took all my stuff.
Nice and organized for them to just go like, oh, I know exactly where everything is. Thank you, Eric.
Exactly. So, you know, I feel like I got the short end of the stick because mainly, I mean, it was both of our stuff, but
how did that affect your family? Like, how did that affect everybody afterwards? Like, because I've had my car stolen, and it just like, it took a long time for me to kind of get back to normal after that. Like I lost my car for 6 months actually. Like everybody was like, it's gone. Like it's just, if you don't find it within the first couple of days, like it's gone forever. And then like after taking the bus forever, and then like the dead of winter, I get this call from the RCMP. Yes, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. They're all on horses. They're trotting around, and one of them calls me up from on top of his horse. and he tells me that my car is like, it just showed up at some drug dealer raid that they did like 45 minutes east of the city. And I was like, that's crazy. A, that they found it. B, like, how that it just like ended up, I don't know, my car is probably doing like drug runs the past 6 months. And then when I get the car back, like I'm driving it and it just felt strange. Like it felt so weird to be in this car, and there's like people's clothes in there, and there's like this half-eaten Snickers, and there's like some, I don't know, Christmas loaf or something. It was just, didn't like it. Also, I didn't like it because I couldn't start my car. I had to, because they had messed with the alarm. So I actually had to like roll it forward and then hop in and pop the clutch, and actually it would then go. But if I ever stopped, it would shut down. Anyways, that's a whole other tangent. So my question is like, how, like, you come home to this house that's like been ransacked, or like, how did it affect you guys after you kind of came to grips with what actually happened?
Well, we didn't, like, they didn't really do damage or anything. So honestly, we really didn't know until I'd come home after school and realized all my games were gone.
Oh man, like that's the only thing?
It's like pretty much, yeah, like that and music CDs and stuff, you know. Like, you remember you don't have a book of CDs or something back then.
Dude, that's what that was in my car. It was gone.
Freaking iPad or, you know, everything on your iPhone anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I
pretty much
CDs, man.
Yeah, they had pretty much just ransacked my stuff, and I don't think they really took anything else but my stuff for the most part. But after that, we had we would, you know, start locking the house after that.
Wait a minute.
Well, you know, we're in a place where we don't really get that stuff that often.
Yeah,
we're in the mountains, and you know, didn't really have any real close neighbors, and you know, most everybody kept to themselves and everything. So it was one of those places where you could, you know, just keep your door unlocked. So we did that for a little while, and then we got, you know, kind of more back to normal, and just kind of moved on. You know, really wasn't anything of a big change after that. So
I feel like that's probably, I'm just getting a sense that's probably like most things in life for you, Eric, where it's just like, I don't know, man. It was like this probably should have been really this either like really amazing, exciting thing, or this really horrible experience. You're like, it was fine. Like we just sort of like move on. Like you're so even keel, man. Are you like, is your wife like that? Or your kids, do they take after that that even keel approach as well?
Well, my wife, she seems to, you know, be able to brush things off sometimes, but she, you know, she's not necessarily into the same things I'm into. But you get her behind the wheel of a car, she turns into the biggest road rage monster I've ever seen.
Oh, snap.
So, I don't know. Well, you know, like, I guess I kind of had a question as well. You know, you have, you and your wife, Chelsea.
Speak of the devil.
She's a gamer, isn't she?
Yeah, man.
So, you know, like, and my wife is pretty much the complete opposite. So,
yeah.
You know, that's a pretty big contrast, you know, the way, you know, your partner is.
But I have to tell you, man, like that's something that like we talked about that a lot too. And I remember when we got married, I was like, coming back home, we're back in the house, like, okay, now this is the real deal. And I remember thinking to myself, like, did we just like lock this down based on video games? Like, and of course not. Like, of course, like there was way more to it. But like I was starting to like, I don't know, like I overthink things. But I remember thinking like, man, I hope this is good. I hope that was a good decision. I hope this really works out. And as it turns out, like especially when kids came into the mix and as we started to get more settled into the house and everything like that, like our decision making it's way more than just video games. Like our decision making is like right on track with each other. We were just talking about it today with like what we do with Lincoln and like how he eats and like what we want to do with him and how we want to like lead by example. All these different things. Like we're so on in line with each other. But I do remember thinking like, gosh, it's been a little over 4 years since we got married. I remember thinking like, I don't know if it's like, because we just hadn't been tested really at that point. Like we'd moved in together, and that's like, I think that's like step one. And then like planning a wedding is like another step of like really challenging the relationship. And I feel like this is totally not what you're getting at. I'm just going to go off a little bit here, Eric. But like, I don't necessarily think that people need to get married in order to have that like piece of paper for it to really mean a whole lot. But the process of getting married can be so trying and so challenging that it's actually a decent exercise for you to go like, okay, we can do this. It like solidifies you as a team almost, because everybody's trying, like, I don't know, trying your patience a little bit. I don't know if that makes any sense. I have a feeling like you had the world's easiest wedding for some reason.
Well, between me and her, everything was fine, but it was my mother that was the one that was testing us. Mm-hmm. We just could not, get her to back off.
How long ago was that? How long have you guys been married?
As of June 1st, it'll be 5 years.
Oh, nice, man. Look at us. We're like right in line, man. So you guys went and had kids right away, though, because you have 2 kids or 3 kids?
2. We have twins.
You have oh my gosh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so we had 2 right off the bat. And
how did you react to that news? Because I would have flipped out. There was a time where I would have been like okay with it, like basically the first ultrasound, they like, okay, there's one, but if they're like, oh, the other one was hiding, tee-hee, I would have flipped out, man. If it showed up later. So how did that work out for you guys?
Well, the way I remember is I was working at Walmart at the time, mm-hmm. and I came home on break because she had just went to her ultrasound. She's like, just come home for lunch.
Yeah.
And then she showed me the picture, and it just says twins. I was like,
so you knew she was pregnant now for a couple weeks at this point?
Like, yeah, 7 weeks.
Okay, yeah.
But once I saw that, I was like, I just kind of stayed. Like, probably didn't say a word the rest of the time. I was at home.
You were so consistent, dude. It's not even funny.
So I was just like on my own little.
Were you processing kind of thing? Just like I don't know. I'm trying to understand like what's going on in that big old brain of yours at that moment.
I was just like, how do I get myself into this? Yeah. Like, one potato, 2 potato. Like, I don't know, just want one. Want one. But no, I got 2. And
was one like part of was at least the pregnancy like part of the plan? You guys got married, and then was it a year later even? Because your kids are how old now?
3.
Holy crap.
Yeah, so I mean, we had probably about a year and a half between marriage and having them.
Oh my gosh.
It was okay, It was a little bit more it was just unexpected. This is not,
of course.
It was an act of God, more or less.
Is there like a history of twins in either of your family? Like, is this something that like you maybe could have gone like there's a possibility? Because like there's twins in my family, so I'm just like goodness gracious. Like I'm especially now like first set maybe it's like maybe more doable, but like if Chelsea's pregnancy now there's twins, holy crap, dude. I don't know. I'd freak out.
It was definitely a surprise. Like apparently like further down the line of the lineage and on her side of the family there was, because my wife's mother had one of those like little family tree things done.
Yeah, I want to do that.
And ancestry.com or something like that. And apparently there was some twins down the line on her side, and so it was just unbeknownst to us, we just like, oh, it's a surprise.
Hooray. Have you guys had a lot of like family support though? Like, because that's got to be super challenging, dude. I mean, the other thing too is that you don't know any different. Like this is just dad life as twins, I guess.
Yeah, like like if I just have one of my girls,
Mm-hmm.
it's like cake. Like I can
Right?
just find her something to do,
Yeah.
and I can do whatever I want.
Mm-hmm.
Two of them, no, you can't. You're like you're chasing one, the other one's going that way. You're chasing her, and then so while you're trying to tell her no and tell her to get off whatever she's getting on, the other one's doing the same exact thing in the other side of the room.
That's why I'm worried.
So
Oh man, that's why I'm
it's
like,
just
even the second one, I'm just having they're not even happening at the same time, and I'm just like, holy crap. And I think the same thing when like I'm walking the dogs. I've got 3 dogs because when I met Chelsea, she had 2, and I've got 1. So we've got this freaking animal house here. Our Wi-Fi is called Animal Crossing, which I think is a really neat little pun. Anyways, totally unnecessary side. I look at people who like walking their one dog, and I'm like, you guys, you don't even know how easy you have it. One dog, oh my god, that would be so easy. That dog would be so good. But 3 dogs, nope, they all get each other going. They all have their own problems, and gosh, soon they'll die off though.
yeah. Well, we have one dog, and we had 3 cats.
Oh wow.
But once we got moved into our house, a couple of weeks later, one of our cats never came home, so now we're down to 2.
Hey man, I wanted to ask you. Actually, we brought up the webcams a second ago. What, like, you've got quite the setup here. Like you've got your Yeti, you've got like some of the most gorgeous headphones I think I've ever seen, and you got a nice webcam and stuff. Are you gearing up for something? Are you gonna be doing something, or you just like to have some tech?
I've always been into tech, but I've been tossing around the idea of starting my own podcast, but I just haven't had the time to really brainstorm and get that started. But I've definitely been trying to. But with working 40 hours and the 2 girls, and my wife started working a full-time job now, so it's just been just time consuming with everything to do with adulting that I just don't have the time to.
So are you still able to like game at all? Like are you playing anything these days?
It's rare. Like the only thing I really do now is I buy games and they sit on the shelf.
Oh man. But somehow like it still feels like good to buy them. It's like, oh, this is my hobby. This is the thing that I love, and I like to, like, for me especially, like I like finding deals, and I'm buying these games that like I don't have any chance. I bought Final Fantasy 15, man, for $20. Like why did I do that? Like that was stupid. I probably could have put that $20 into Lincoln's college fund or something, because I'm not gonna, sure as hell not gonna play that game anytime soon. So it's just really dumb, and it's physical. I don't even buy a physical. What am I doing, man? I don't even know.
Well, I guess it helps me still stay connected to the gaming echelon of because I like really been into it pretty much all my life, and it's just something I try to keep a hold of.
Yeah, man.
I don't want to be an old fart and not play video games.
Dude, that honestly, and I've talked to a lot of people doing the show. I don't feel like I've heard anybody say that since Bobby told me that in like episode like 15, where he's like, I want to stay in touch with like tech and like and gaming news and stuff, just because like it's almost like this anti-aging thing, and it's not like being afraid of moving away from your childhood. Maybe a little bit, but like I don't necessarily think that. I think it's more that you just don't want to be like an older person who has no idea what like the current world around them is like. And I think that that's a super challenging thing, even just in the world of like social media and like sticking around and keeping up with like what are the kids using these days. Like I don't understand Snapchat at all, and I feel like that's almost like a way. It's almost like a sign of that, where I'm just like losing touch a little bit. And that sucks, man, because I feel like for us in this community, we're probably like better armed to have conversations with our kids that like, because maybe we're more in touch where we remember what it's like to be a kid, and because we never really like let go of any of this stuff. But still, it's still super hard. I don't know if I feel like I'm just rambling here, but because I don't get the Fortnite. I don't like the Fortnite, and this is a game that all the kids are playing. I don't know, man. Now I'm just feeling like I'm gonna be an awful father.
Well, I've tried Fortnite, and it's fun, but I've never been a really big multiplayer fan. Like as far as
Mm-hmm.
you know, GoldenEye was like the golden age of multiplayer games for me.
Mm-hmm.
Having three other people, that I could, punch in the face if I wanted to, because they're right there.
Slappers only.
But yeah, and nowadays, you can, like, you're in Canada, obviously, you know, hours and hours and hours of driving away, and then, I can connect with you and play a game, and it's just something that was far beyond any kind of scope we had back then.
I know, right?
Um,
But
but
like you,
to me, I just want to, like, I don't want to lose the gaming portion of my life. Like I do, I'm an adult, so I have responsibilities, and those will always come first. But I'll always make some time to keep up with this stuff, and podcasts have given me a way to keep into it. Besides, just all these forums and stuff. But I feel like I listen to more podcasts than I ever would dream of being able to play that many hours of games.
mm-hmm.
But that's how I stay in touch and stay informative of all the stuff that's coming out.
Well, and Married to the Games is the one thing that I feel like connects us. Like I feel like I've heard questions coming in from the Art of Bacon for years and years, dude. Like I've heard of Eric Green honestly for probably 4 years. Like you were there since I feel like you were one of the early adopters of Married to the Games.
It was. I remember I had gotten followed by Married to the Games on Twitter. Probably around episode 70, between 70 and 80. And I pretty much stuck with it since then. For some odd reason, I popped that on my iPod or iPhone or whatever, and I stuck with it. And I stuck with it, and because eventually there was a Toby Mac show in Franklin, North Carolina, which I was living at the time, and so I got to meet Gabe for the first time. And since then, we're just really stayed connected with Married to the Games and those guys. Even before Chris McCrackin and Ed Placencia had gotten on there. And then since then, I think I went to 5 other Toby Mac shows besides that one, and met up with Gabe every time. That's awesome. Actually, on the 2nd of June, I'm going to be going to another Toby Mac show and seeing Gabe again.
Well, this will air in the future, so you're actually talking about something it's in the future, but also in the past at the same time. And by saying that, I'm about to get a nosebleed. I think, Eric, too much time travel for me to understand. I love that, man. So, like, was that where it started podcasting? Kind of opened it up for you. Also, before I even ask that, I feel like Married to the Games, probably more than any other podcast in the history of podcasts, nails the follow people and then like turn that person into a listener. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do that more successfully than Married to the Games. Like they follow thousands of people, which it doesn't happen automatically. Like somebody in there, I'm sure it's Gabe, is like going around finding gamers, following them up, asking them to check out the podcast. Like they put in the work, dude. And they've got a great community because of it. So is that like one of the first podcasts for you to open up to this? Oh, people talk about video games on the internet all the time, and I freaking love this.
Yeah, that's probably around the time that I really started, diving deep into podcasts.
Yeah, man.
And that was probably around, I'm thinking it was probably right around the time, maybe a month or so after we got married. So about 5 years ago.
Yeah. So how's it? So I think one of the first questions that we were talking about at the beginning, and maybe we'll wrap with this. So how is it being married to a non-gamer? How does that affect things? Like purchasing and spending time?
It's a little frustrating, I guess.
Is that, yeah.
Because it is an expensive hobby, and games are usually at the most $60. More more than that if you do a special edition or anything, but I usually don't. But I have, sometimes I have to justify that to my wife and everything.
So does that make you even more selective? Like, how do you, if you've got like a lineup of games, and maybe we'll kind of like, we'll wrap with this. Like for the rest of 2018, like what have you got your eye on, and that you'll have to justify. You have to go like, man, I can only get so many games. These are the ones that I want. Like what's caught your eye? What's caught your attention for the rest of this year?
Well, the Zelda game that I was mentioning for GameCube, I bought that, or I picked it up again because I'd traded mine in several years ago, and bought the Zelda Collector's Edition, which has the first Zelda game for NES, it has the second Zelda game for NES, and it has Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask on that disc, all on the one disc for GameCube. So that was a little bit of money, but I had used some funds that I sold some stuff on eBay, so I used those funds for those purchases. But as far as the future, I'm thinking about. Actually, today I just picked up Mega Man, Legacy Collection for Switch.
Oh, yeah, man.
So I picked that up today, and I bought the new Bloodstained game, Curse of the Moon.
Yes. Where's my Switch? I want to buy that right now. Oh crap!
Yeah,
I just dropped something.
It's like $9.99.
Is that it? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Have you played it yet? Did you?
I have not. I finally got it downloaded. I got my Switch right here on my desk here.
Do you just want to finish the show just like as we play right now? And just
no,
load up our Switches right
I'm
here?
usually pretty not too eager sometimes, because sometimes I'm just too tired to play games.
Oh, isn't that the worst? What the heck, man?
That's the worst part of adulting. It's just being too tired to play games. I'm like, I'd rather just watch a YouTube video.
Oh man, I've been doing that. There's been a couple times where I'm like, I should be playing. And that's the other part about when like doing podcasts and especially if you're ever getting codes or anything, you have to hit deadlines and stuff. Like that was the whole thing for me to get into all of this, was just trying to see like what is it like hitting a deadline. It's not that fun. Like sometimes like you're not in the mood for that game. I'm so glad that I didn't promise or pledge a review for God of War. Like I just bought it because like it's just not hitting for me at the right time, man. And I just maybe tonight I think I'm gonna restart it. I think I'm actually gonna, because I don't know. It's been a couple weeks since it came out and since I last played it, because I got distracted with State of Decay, and that game's awesome, as buggy as hell as that is. But yeah, man,
kind of like that Friday the 13th.
That's what it was, man. Okay, so it's maybe just a little more playable, and that's funny that's really how this whole thing started. Like the reason that we're even doing this episode is because we played Friday the 13th, which is hilarious. Like, what are the chances that we ended up playing that together? I can't even remember. Like, how did you find that we were playing it? Were we putting it in the Discord or something?
I saw that you were playing it on your Twitter, or I was browsing YouTube and I found it.
Yeah, and you actually knew what you were doing in that game, man. That was so helpful.
Yeah, that game is just beyond janky. And I know they fixed it, a lot of it, but it's still
pretty bad, man.
it's not like we, back in the day when we had a cartridge and just threw it in the system and you were ready to go. Those are the days I miss, is having a full-fledged 1.0 game ready to go. And these days it's just not.
I'm trying to remember. I think this episode will air. Let me actually quickly bring up my calendar, because I want to do this weird thing where you can predict E3 in the past. Let's see. So Katie, Joel, you're going to actually be on the day, on the 11th. This is going to go live. So E3 is like happening. And I'm going to totally put you on the spot here. Is there anything that like can make you believe or make you feel like one of the companies can actually win? Can somebody win E3 in your mind? Because I feel like they definitely can. I feel like there are years where I kind of want to just like get into it and go, I don't think Sony deserves this much credit because X, Y, or Z. I don't think like Nintendo deserves it because of whatever. Or Xbox, for people waiting for me to not be a fanboy about that. But in your mind, is there a winner of E3? Are we all winners, Eric?
Well, I've had a PlayStation 4, but I haven't. I sold it, or I'm OCD about some things. So, like, I'm to a point where I feel like I can't have nice things because of my two little girls. They like to, bang things up, and
Oh yeah.
if
You'd
I
rather
get a
just
nick
get
on
rid of
something-
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hate that, but it's my OCD portion of my brain, and it just messes with me. So I ended up getting
Also,
rid of my
just stuff
PlayStation.
that costs money you don't want broken. I'm not sure if that's an OCD thing or just like being a human being.
Yeah, it's definitely some like, and it was just a scratch on the PlayStation, and I was like, "Ugh." I got so mad, but
Oh, it wasn't
it's
even
my-
the fact that it was like it wasn't okay. So you just didn't even want to look at it anymore.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I'm
it
with you,
made-
man.
It made
Okay,
me
okay, that
sick
might be an
knowing that
OCD.
there was a scratch on there.
Okay, I'm
Um,
with you because I definitely know the exact same OCD feeling. You just like you can't look
Because
at anything
I
else.
see you've got quite a bit of background there full of really really cool stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what I've kind of got back here too, or over here in the corner. I'm starting to build my own, maybe for podcast purposes in the future. But so I got rid of that maybe a couple months ago. I have an Xbox One, a 360, have Switch, and have a GameCube and 64 currently plugged up. So pretty much everything I've got is plugged up. What was I gonna say?
I don't.
Can anybody win?
Can anybody win E3?
Oh yeah. Well, PlayStation's been really, really, just kicking the shit out of everybody. Xbox just I feel like they need exclusives. Like State of Decay 2 is, great and all, but it doesn't seem to be hitting, nowhere near what a God of War is doing.
Yeah, isn't that like the best example? Like if you ever just wanted like a really simple illustration of like what's going on in either camp, you've got this super buggy half game of State of Decay, like $30 game, and you've got God of War, which is like breaking every record in a time and generation where PlayStation is already breaking every record and just like on par or on pace for Wii and PS2 sales and stuff. Why don't you throw in this late in the console generation? I think I just heard 5 million copies sold between digital and physical. Like what in the world, man? And you got State of Decay. It's free with Game Pass. It's $30. It's buggy as hell.
I mean, you got to think that
like Xbox at this point, I think.
There's about 30 million Xbox Ones out there.
Yeah.
And there's almost 80 million PS4s out there.
Man.
It's crazy.
That's crazy.
I mean, Switch is hot on the tail of Xbox. But I think Sony's going to have a good showing. Xbox is probably going to be bringing something better this year than they have in the past few years. But I'm really hoping Nintendo brings it this year. Because the Switch has just been just a big revitalization of Nintendo's reputation. And but as far as what I think might be coming out, I think they're going to announce Super Smash Brothers day and date with online service.
Oh, okay.
I'm really, really hoping we get.
I kind of hope that's
Prime.
not the case, man. I kind of hope that they get like a couple like days or weeks even just to kind of smooth things out. So by the time Smash comes around, I feel like there's already going to be so much attention on like DDoS attacks and stuff. Like people like to ruin people's day, and I kind of hope that they get things up and running. In the Nintendo. But the thing is, it's not like Nintendo didn't have like online multiplayer before. So I don't know, man. I don't really understand this. I don't understand why they can't get their crap together before.
The way I think about it is, if they're going to start making people pay for it, they're going to need a reason for people to pay for the online service. And Smash is that answer, I think.
I just feel like they're barely asking for any money.
It's
you and
not
I
gonna be...
and like 6 of our friends could have a family pass, man, and we'll pay like $3 a piece. And I know if you're listening to PSVG or Nintendo Shack, like Donnie's like Man,
He's all about that family fast
I know
food.
he's like, because they're talking about the first time. Remember, they were listening. They're talking about the news, and they're like, okay, so if we needed like 8 people, and they were listening, they only got to like 6, and they're like, whatever, man. Like, we'll pick somebody in the community, and we'll give it to them. And like, you know what? I don't even like. Wait, is it like $4 a piece or something like that? It's super cheap. Like, who even cares? So I can't wait to see what happens there. I don't know if Nintendo is really gonna outline much more about that. I'm stoked about the multiplayer NES games, dude. Let's play some Dr. Mario. And I want Chelsea, let's see, when is that actually going to come out? She'll only be like 7 months pregnant. Maybe she'll actually start slowing down and not working all the time too. I challenge anybody to try and beat Chelsea at NES Dr. Mario, because you won't. I'm telling you right now, man. She is so freaking good at that game. It is crazy.
I wonder if they're going to have some leaderboards for that.
Oh, that's the stuff. Yes. If I ran Nintendo.
That's probably like, Tetris level addiction if you're really good at it.
That's the thing, man. That's the thing. Nobody's talking about why this is such a big deal. Like, yeah, there's 20 games, I think. And like, sure, we've played all those before. Multiplayer, like exactly what you were saying before. Like, these are the games we grew up with, but now like we're like hours apart. We're across like on different sides of the continent, but like now we're like playing these old games that we played on the couch with our good friends that we could play with our new friends from across the world, man. Through the power of the internet. Look at Nintendo finally getting around to the power of the internet to bring us all together.
Yeah, took them that long enough.
I know, right? That's awesome, man.
I'm really excited to be able to play Super Mario Brothers 3 on the Switch again, or for the first time. That's
oh snap, 2-player on that too, man. Oh, that'll be so good.
Yeah, so like, of course you'd go, and then whoever's next would be Luigi after you die.
Oh,
so that'll be cool.
Just wait until it gets to like Super Nintendo. You can do like Donkey Kong Country. You can go back and forth like that. Oh, it's so good. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'm wondering what the other, because they've only announced the 10 titles of the 20. So we have no idea what those other 10 are.
Is that true? I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, they've only announced the first 10. Now, as far as I think it's just going to be NES games.
Hang on, I want to write this down as an if we're a Nintendo topic. Jason, we're going to have done this in the past already, because we'll probably do this on Monday. Anyways.
But yeah, I'm really hoping they'll eventually do SNES games, but they really need to get the ball on that. Like, they can't keep these people waiting this long just to be able to play SNES games. I figured it would have been 6 months tops, and then we would have had Virtual Console.
Dude, I'm telling you, I've got my Wii U right here. I kind of want to just fire it up and just see, like, let's go shopping. Let's see what's on sale on the Wii U Virtual Console. I'm pretty tempted.
I mean,
I'm not gonna lie.
Because if they don't do that, then that's just everybody's gonna want to go buy a Wii or a Wii U so they can get those games, because the Wii eShop is gone. But if they don't do, or at least a rebranding of Virtual Console, then everybody's just gonna go buy a Wii U now.
Let's do it. Let's everybody pick up your Wii U. Everybody try and go get one. Josh Stapleton will arrange a yard sale crew. He's already part of the street team, but he might as well have a yard sale convoy or something. Eric, man, I had so much fun just kicking back and chatting with you tonight. Why don't we wrap it there, man? And why don't you tell everybody where they can find you on the internet? You got one of the best handles on Twitter, I think. So let everybody know where they can find you.
Well, you can find me at The Art of Baking, capital T, capital A, and capital B. Everything, my Xbox and my Switch code is in my description. So you can find all that there, and just gonna try and keep on gaming with these two little girls, and maybe one day I'll kick them out of the house and just play games all day.
Yeah, man, get into like summer camp or something, and you're trying to get a couple of months of gaming in here. Let's go.
Like the most gaming I get is maybe an hour or two. I feel like a week maybe sometimes.
Oh man. Well,
yeah,
Eric, I'll be praying for you gaming time, man.
Yeah, I really could use some.
Everybody send Eric your prayers for his game time. Eric, thank you. The Art of Bacon is where everybody can find you on Twitter. Thank you so much for doing this, dude.
All right, well, it was a lot of fun.
Feeling good, feeling great. I hope you guys had a great time listening to that episode. I had a great time talking to Eric. Thank you, Eric. A lot of people, I think we maybe 3-4 people in a row, first podcast ever, and you guys are slaying it. That's what this show is all about. Honestly, that's the entire, I can't remember if it was this conversation talked about, like maybe Amanda? I can't remember, guys. I'm so sorry. Talked about like the whole point of this show is to mimic whatever people experience at Comic Cons and E3s, where you're standing in line, you're like, I might as well just talk to this person next to me. Holy crap, we have so much in common because of video games. Love it. Eric, thank you for taking the time. I hope you guys stick around for next week because we've got Amanda Hicks. And for all the parents out there, it's a good one for you. Talk a little bit about games at the end, but I really just wanted to pull little nuggets. Amanda has a daughter, who's 12 years old, so she's a little further along than Lincoln. So I just kind of want to know, like, what am I in for? It's like a lot of the friends and people I talk to, we're all in the same kind of boat. But 12, pretty particular age. We talk about maybe when to get a cell phone. Johnny Casino. Hi John. Guys, the music. How could I not? I think Jason Lacey and I both found this song at about the same time. It appeared at ocremix.org. Yeah, that's just that. Why did that sound weird? ORG. Oh, I'm sorry. ocremix.org. Street Fighter 2 Burning Vigor. Some good stuff, man. It gets your heart pumping, gets the blood flowing, and gets you jumping if you're so inclined. Thank you guys for subscribing. If you haven't already, a thumbs up on the video. Even if you're listening to podcasts, head over to youtube.com/WeTheNerdy. I really appreciate it. And everything that you're doing, not only for this show, but all the shows, not even just the Make Us Better group, everybody. Everything you do to support what everybody's doing, encouraging one another, as Alex Van Aken says. It's probably too late even. Maybe not. Bethesda is, Sunday night. Well, by the time you're listening to this, I will have been talking to the OK Beast guys about Bethesda. Maybe I'll also probably tweet that out. I don't know if that's just a live thing or maybe it's post that. Anyway, probably should find that out before I ramble on. Follow me on Twitter at Sean Capri. Follow the show, We the GamerCast. Follow the website, We the Nerdy. It's good times, good stuff. Remember, I'm on If We Run Nintendo. On Monday night, we really have to, Jason, you and I have to chat. What the hell's going on tonight, Monday night? We got to figure that out because E3, that's a thing. Also, I'm on the Xbox Drive, of course, with my friend Dave Moore. Otherwise, this is episode 153 of We the GamerCast, now in your ears and eyeballs. Thank you again for listening. I'll be back next week. I hope you're there too. Now it's time for Jason. I squeezed it in there just in time for Jason. Here he comes anytime now. Where is he?
Jason! 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 Sean! 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 Sean, where are you? Jason! 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 Sean! 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 Jason! 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 Jason!